if you have been receiving complaints, and what kinds of complaints have you received?
We have received a number of complaints, and those complaints focused mainly on accreditation. What transpired in relation to Delta had to do with the accreditation of, or lack of it, of some members of the party in Delta who insisted that they had to vote for the candidate of their choice, even when they had not completed the accreditation process. So there were frayed nerves. We had to calm them down, and we eventually, after seeking the cooperation of the agents, allowed them to participate in the primary.
So each of these aspirants have their agents there?
Oh yes. This is a process that can compete with any other around the world. Not only do they have their agents at the voting booths, they were also members of the convention committee. Every aspirant had a representative on the convention committee for the 3 or 4 weeks that we have been saddled with the responsibility.
Does that mean all of the aspirants are satisfied with the process? No complaints from any aspirant?
No, not to my knowledge. All the aspirants, I mean, you heard some of them speak at this event, and they commended what we did, because we really strained ourselves to ensure that we provided a level playing field, we ensured transparency, we responded fully and firmly to concerns raised by them, and we were in touch with them via their representatives and directly. I was talking to the presidential aspirants almost on a daily basis in the course of this process, reassuring them about every step we were taking.
They made some speeches. You talked about them making some speeches here. One would wonder, the promises they made, is your party going to follow through on them to ensure that they meet up with those promises?
I think it's the other way around. They are the ones who would have to follow through on the manifesto we unveiled. They would have to study the manifesto of the party and deliver on the manifesto of the party.
Their own manifestos that they gave, did they line up with the manifesto of the party?
Well, we'll see about that. The party will see the synergy between the ideas that have espoused and the manifesto of the party. But as progressives, I mean, we would not, I mean, you heard Governor Kwankwanso talking about free education from primary school to tertiary institution. Those are things that have been associated with us in the progressive camp for God knows how long. So if we say we're going to do that, it's something none of our aspirants would object to. Former Vice President Atiku talked about education as well, and General Buhari did the same. So I don't think there will be that much of an inchoate a relationship between what our candidates are espousing and what we want. They're talking about security, that's the #1 item on our manifesto. They're talking about human capital development, that's very central in the manifesto we just unveiled. They're talking about social security, safety net.
You know, we've always had issues with a manifesto, the difference between manifesto, dreams, and aspirations. Tell us, what's the manifesto of the APC?
The manifesto of the APC focuses mainly on nothing else but jobs, jobs, jobs for Nigerians.
Is that the ideology? I mean, does your manifesto also?
The ideology of the APC is fairly well known to most Nigerians. We are a social, democratic, left-of-center, progressive political party. And you can stretch that definition however you may, but it means that we are focused on a social welfare agenda. We are interventionists. We don't believe that everything public is bad. We also don't believe that everything private is good. We don't believe in trickle-down economics. We believe in empowering our people in a way that they can also become self-empowered in their own right. So there are aspects to our ideology that range across the spectrum. And these are things that we've done in the progressive camp, at least for those of us who have always been in the progressive camp all our life, for as long as many Nigerians can remember.
Now, we've talked about the party's internal affairs, but looking outside now, looking towards 2015, are you confident that the level playing field, which your committee has been commended for, will also be provided outside the realm of the party when you finally go in contest in 2015?
Well, clearly we've always raised concerns about the commitment of the party in power in Nigeria today to guarantee a level playing field. I mean, I'll give you a little example.
Is that the responsibility of the party in power? I thought it was an independent national electoral
commission. Right. It's the job of the independent national electoral commission. But you get a lot from the body language of the party in power that you cannot discount in the work of the independent National Electoral Commission. Let me give you an example. One of the things that happened at this convention was the refusal of the federal government to allow us the use of the National Stadium, which is public property, which is a public institution, because we wanted to use the National Stadium as a backup for some things that we would inevitably have been doing in relation to our convention. And even though they had first agreed to do this, but all of a sudden our funds were returned to us without any explanation, only that it was no longer available. Those are the kind of signals you get in an authoritarian democracy of the type we operate. That really ought not to be the case.
Now, the concerns you've raised with INEC, what are some of these concerns? Because I don't want the focus to be on the party in power.
Not at all.
Yes, but
it ought not to be.
The concerns that you're raising, what concerns have you raised with INEC?
You know very well the concerns we've raised about PVC, the cards that we're going to use for the election, the shoddy arrangements that INEC had put in place, particularly in states that coincidentally, I would say, happen to be APC states, and some of our big hitters in the forthcoming election, Rivers, Lagos, and so on and so forth. Everybody knew what happened, and INEC has not given sufficient explanation as to why we've had this unfortunate experience in the distribution of PVC and registration of new voters. That's one. Another concern we've consistently raised is the use of the biometric card reader with these PVCs. Although they will tell you that these PVCs are made for use of card readers, that's never happened in the recent elections, either in Ekiti or in Osun, and we have no evidence to suggest that it's going to happen in the 2015 election. The other issue we've raised consistently is the intimidatory capacity of security institutions and elections, which again have been used ostensibly to protect the voter, but apparently to manipulate the process in favor of those who are the controlling authorities of those security institutions. And INEC, again, has not been able to offer a countervailing response to those issues we've raised. And these are specific things that INEC could deal with. And INEC also relates with other institutions, just as my brother said. I go around the world, I observe elections, I see these things, and it's no rocket science. I don't see why we can't do them here in Nigeria. And I would think, given the leadership that INEC has, that it ought to be possible to do these things if not effortlessly, at least in a manner that convinces Nigeria that INEC is ready for prime time.
Well, we're closing on this. A couple of questions we still would want to pose. Someone would want to know, and I really have to take this, and it's from Kingsley Uche. He says, well, he's asking, did APC as a party sponsor the delegates from their various states down to Lagos, or the aspirants?
We sponsored all our delegates, particularly the non-statutory delegates. You know, I made a distinction between statutory and non-statutory, and the statutory delegates are people who believe ought to be able to contribute to the party that has put them in the positions that they're in, or that they were in the past. But for the non-statutory delegates, we actually gave them transport allowance, we gave them accommodation allowance in Lagos. So, and that really ought to be the role of a political party, without subjecting them to the whims and caprices of the candidates or aspirants that really could have taken advantage of that if we had not provided such assistance.
Well, running mates, one last one. When a candidate finally emerged, are we likely to get the running mate today as well?
Again, that's way beyond my paycheck. I was asked to work on the convention to produce the presidential candidate of the party. Once that assignment is delivered, my job is done. I leave the rest to join Obigere.
But as a party man, who has the say as to who comes as your running mate?
The leadership of the party would sit with the eventual winner and decide what's in the best interest of the party and Nigeria.
And that is not going to happen today?
I don't know when it's going to happen.
From the calculation we're getting and the reading we're getting, how soon do you think this process will be concluded?
We're reasonably confident that this process should be over before 2 p.m. today.
Well, Kennedy Fayemi, we'd like to thank you so very much for coming on Sunrise Daily. He's the chairman, APC Presidential Primaries Organizing Committee, as well as the former governor of Ekiti State, a member of the APC. Well, we'll take a moment now. We'll return shortly to look at another moment that is, has been, in the news, and a whole lot of questions from you, our viewer, on our Twitter handle especially. Stay with us.